Welytok, would you want to bring something up?
Yes, yep, thank you.
Would you mind, to the councilors who don't know you, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, yep. I'm Mark Welytok, and I'm the property owner of 103 East Railroad Street. It's the apartment building, 9 unit. And just to give you a quick brief, and I don't want to take all night. I know you guys want to get out of here as well. And thank you for your opportunity to be here. But anyway, we went through a fire code inspection last fall, last October to be exact, and we learned that we have a sprinkler system in that building that had no water connected to it. And it wasn't just recently, it had been for, as we could tell from the city drawings, when a new line, water line went down East Main, or East Railroad Street. It was like 18, 19 years ago, this building's been without that fire line hookup. So anyway, we were looking at many options of trying to bring that building into compliance, meeting the safety needs and as well as the tenants' safety needs. And but anyway, so of course, we have to contact the water department, see where the water is, why is it there, and how are we going to test the system and so on. And we learned, I guess, through trying to turn the water on. And at that time, I was instructed it was going to be $55 to do a water turn-on check. So I said, okay, I didn't feel I should pay $55 when we knew there was no water. But anyway, I agreed to it. And then another week went on. They have to do estimates and tell us what it's going to be, because there wasn't water to it. So, but in the meantime, I'm kind of off in the system. I'm thinking, when I talk to state codes, that there's many other options that are much better than having a sprinkler system just in a common area, in the basement area. I guess probably in the 50s when it was installed, it was adequate, but today there's many more technologies that are much greater. The system we have in today, every apartment has heat sensors, and once they're sensed at 130 degrees in each apartment, it automatically dials in here to the city's fire department. They're contacted, and of course, hopefully extinguished, whatever. But for the other system, we could have something on the first floor, on the north or south of the building, go all the way up through the whole wing, and never get to the common area to sense to the sprinkler. But irregardless, we got beyond that, and with several meetings with several people, and come right down to the wire whether we're going to do this job or have the option of working with this other technology. And the day before we got approval, between the mayor, fire codes, state codes, myself, and so on, to go with this system. And so on the 22nd, I had originally given the water department authorization to start digging, do this job, hook it up, and go with an antiquated system. Well, the day before, 2 in the afternoon, we had this meeting. So I contacted the water superintendent, said, cut us out, knock us off the work water. We don't need this no longer work on it. We got to go with this other technology. And 2 days later, I get this bill for $481. And I'm like, just didn't understand where this would come from. So I, numerous times, tried to contact the water department, left notes, no contacts back. Finally, we get a turn-off here a few weeks ago that the water's going to be turned off for this bill. So and actually I didn't even get the notice. I was in the city clerk doing something else, and I think the city chamberlain lady came over to me and said, "Hey, Mark, your water's going to be turned off on Friday." I wasn't even aware of it. And at the same time, the water superintendent had to be coming down the hall, so I approached him like, where are we at with this? I mean, we need to discuss it. So luckily that next Tuesday, this was a Thursday night, last Tuesday, I was able to sit with the water board meeting, and there were 3 committee people, pleaded my case with them. One was very much, the chairperson, I quote him, he said that he wouldn't pay the bill in 100 years for work that's not performed. And I'm like, well, then it ought to be kind of a slam dunk. And the other 2 were, well, they didn't really know. One used an analogy, well, if you go to an attorney and you talk to them, they're going to charge you. I'm like, well, the water superintendent's not an attorney, but irregardless. And so then I asked for an itemized list, and I looked down, half hour talking to Mark, quarter of an hour talking to the mayor, another half hour talking to Mark, whatever, adds up almost 4 hours or $200, and I'm thinking, well, where does our city tax dollars, our water bill funds, overhead, administrative costs go to, to support the water superintendent, and then me being billed at $50.03 an hour to have these discussions. He has these discussions with the mayor. It even got to the point to calculate the bill, they had to, and I'm like, well, when is the bill going to be done? Because you're going to have to calculate it again. I mean, am I going to then get down to 2 minutes, 1 minute, and where are we going to end this? But anyway, I guess I just wanted to bring this to your attention. I'm not certain if you're aware of how the water department works. I would think you do, but I just felt that it needed to be brought to the community, the councilmen, of some of these underlying concerns that some of the public people may have, or business owners here in the city of Oneida.
We have a set of water rules and regulations, and signing on to get water from the city of Oneida requires that anybody who wants to buy water from the city of Oneida agree to those terms and conditions. And those are non-negotiable.
Sure, I buy water.
Those are fixed, and they're non-negotiable. In the terms and conditions is a section on fire service, where it says very clearly, the entire cost of installing and maintaining a fire service shall be borne by the owner of the building supplier. Now, Mr. Welytok, you know that I'm aware that this issue of your property either being allowed to continue to function as a rental, as an apartment rental or not, consumed quite a bit of time on the part of the city with respect to the inspection, the determination that your building, which was required to have a working sprinkler system in order to be operable, did not meet those requirements, and a great deal of effort was made by Chief Hudson, Fire Marshal, ultimately by myself, Water Superintendent Smolinski, and others on behalf of the city to try to come up with a solution to this particular issue.
Sure.
Okay. Now, you admitted, you acknowledged that you told the water superintendent to go ahead and figure out, to go ahead and do what was necessary to hook the water up. Okay, under the terms and conditions of doing business with our water department, you obligated yourself for the reasonable costs involved in doing that, including, in my opinion, the preparation costs involved prior to the actual digging a hole in the pavement and hooking up the pipe and whatever that is. Now, so I just want to.
Yeah, provided we would have work done.
Now, just let me finish.
Yeah.
The rule relating to the entire cost of installing and maintaining a fire service shall be borne by the owner of the building supplied has a couple different root sources to that. Number one is when you have a sprinkler system, and if it's ever activated, which I hope none of our sprinkler systems ever are activated, the water that runs through that sprinkler system to suppress the fire, to protect the occupants and the building, and the value owned by the owner of the building, is not charged. That water it's free to the property owner. However, it comes from our water system, and the city incurs expense in making that available. So the property owner who has a sprinkler system gets something, gets a value without having to pay for it. Therefore, our rules impose the cost of setting those things up, maintaining them, fixing them if we're involved, upon the property owner. Our water department, you have to go back and understand a little bit of history about municipal operations. 100 and some odd years ago, the courts looked at water systems as well as wastewater treatment, for example, as proprietary functions of government, which were treated different than the other functions of government. And proprietary functions of government usually operate what used to be called proprietary functions, operated more as businesses as opposed to traditional government services.